Mercedes' best-selling model in the firm's UK arsenal is the Class, with the Mercedes-Benz Class estate accounting for 20% of that. Competing against the BMW 3 Series Touring and Audi A4 Avon, it's fighting a difficult battle, but Mercedes believes this version can build on the practicality, technology, efficiency and style of its predecessor to take it to the top. Practicality expect the biggest estate in the sector, and you'll be disappointed, as Mercedes is keen to see the new Class estate as a lifestyle leader rather than a load lugger. Think outdoor pursuits and small boats being towed and you have it. That said, the boot space is, of course, larger than before. With the seats in place, it has grown by 5 litres to 495 litres, and with the seats folded down, an increase of 10 litres takes the maximum space to 1,510 litres. The boot opening is large and squarely shaped, with the interior impeccably well trimmed as you'd expect, while the rear seat is now split 402,040 rather than the standard 6,040 configuration. You don't even need to clamber around to release the catches, thanks to controls located next to the seats and at the rear of the boot, which allow the backrests to be folded electrically. And if you've got armfuls of shopping when returning to the car, as long as you've ticked the correct option box, a simple wave of your foot under the rear bumper will open the tailgate for you, allowing you to place items in without hassle. Engines and gearboxes. As you'd expect, the majority of UK Class estates will arrive in dealerships with a diesel engine under the bonnet, of which there will be a pair to choose from at launch. Both are the same 2.1-litre 4-cylinder unit, but the C220 BlueTech produces 168 bhp and the C250 BlueTech makes 201 bhp, with corresponding differences in torque. That said, both slip under 120 GkM for CO2 output and can achieve over 60 miles per gallon with a light right foot. Later there'll be a C200 BlueTech diesel with a 1.6-litre 4-cylinder engine, and the C300 BlueTech hybrid, which combines the 201 bhp 2.1-litre diesel with a 27 bhp electric motor for better performance, less emissions sub 100 GkM and more economy 74.3 miles per gallon. Petrol aficionados will have to look to the C200 petrol, which is surprisingly efficient and offers buyers the chance to take advantage of its 181 bhp and over 50 miles per gallon combined economy. There's also a 6-speed manual gearbox available, but we'd stick with the excellent 7-speed 7-tronic automatic as it shifts smoothly and efficiently and is far better than the Mercedes tradition of vague manuals. Luxurious. The new Mercedes Class cabin is a highlight of the current Mercedes range, and the estate takes its dashboard from the saloon. As such, it looks fantastic, full of sweeping, flowing and curving lines and glossy high-quality materials. For image alone, it certainly knocks all other contenders straight out of the ring. Debuting in the Class is the firm's new touchpad controller for the multimedia system, which uses a smartphone-style interface to allow users to swipe, pinch and pull their way through the menus. For those not completely tech-savvy with the latest iPhone, it can take some getting used to, especially on the move, but there's no denying how slick the interface is. There's a variety of apps available for Class owners as well for stationary internet use, along with an optionally available remote connection with a smartphone to allow for remote control of the car's systems such as preheating or cooling of the cabin before a journey. Those in the rear will benefit from the larger wheelbase over the predecessor, with extra leg, shoulder and headroom available on the rear bench. It's certainly the best the firm has made yet, so read our Mercedes-Benz Class estate review to find out how it's justified those 4.5 stars. Performance. At launch there will be 3 engines taking care of Mercedes-Benz Class estate performance, though a further pair will join the trio a little later. Made up of 3 diesel, 1 petrol and 1 diesel-hybrid engine, it will be the former that will make up the majority of sales here in the UK. Petrol engines. Let's get this out of the way first. Here in the UK, if you want to avoid filling up at the black pump, then there's only one choice, the C200 petrol. It's actually quite an efficient choice, offering a possible 51.4 miles per gallon and emitting just 128 gkm of CO2, numbers not that far off some of the diesel models. In terms of outright performance, this four-cylinder engine develops 181 bhp and 300 Nm of torque, the latter available from 1,200 to 4,000 revolutions per minute thanks to its turbocharged layout. That allows the C200 petrol, with 6-speed manual gearbox, to complete the benchmark 062 mph sprint in a credible 7.5 seconds. While top speed is 145 mph. Diesel engines. If you want real mid-range muscle, it's the diesel engines you need to be looking at, specifically the C250 BlueTech, which develops 500 Nm of torque and 210 bhp. That peak torque figure is only on tap for a small period, but the 2.1-litre four-cylinder engine allows the lifestyle estate to punch its way from 062 mph in just 6.9 seconds. Considering it only emits 117 gkm and can achieve over 60 miles per gallon with a very light foot, that's a set of impressive numbers. The good news is this engine performs just as well on the road, despite the occasional clattering noise at startup and when worked hard. There is another option though. The C220 BlueTech is the same engine, 2.1-litre four-cylinder, that has been slightly down-tuned. That means it only pumps out 168 bhp and a still useful 400 Nm of torque, the latter available for a larger spread of the power band than on the C250 BlueTech, and takes 7.9 seconds to finish the 062 mph sprint. In actual fact, it's the C300 BlueTech hybrid that is the fastest of the lot for now though, which uses the same diesel engine as the C250 BlueTech but supplements it with a 27 bhp electric motor. It's also the cleanest of the lot with sub 100 gkm CO2 and can achieve 74 miles per gallon. If you are less keen on performance, there is a new 1.6-litre four-cylinder diesel, named C200 BlueTech, which develops 134 bhp and 300 Nm, and takes 10.1 seconds to finish the benchmark 062 mph sprint. At least CO2 emissions 112 gkm and average economy 65.7 miles per gallon are impressive. Gearboxes. There will be manual gearboxes available on the new Mercedes class estate, but we haven't driven any yet, and to be fair, the firm expects 85% of cars sold to be equipped with its 7-tronic 7-speed automatic gearbox instead. It's a cracking gearbox, shifting smoothly and quickly up the ratios when left to its own devices, only occasionally losing its crispness when asking for manual down changes. Handling. There's no doubt that Mercedes-Benz class estate handling is better than the car that came before it. Certainly this is a class that you can genuinely enjoy driving. That's down to its new 4-link front axle, which allows for higher cornering forces and before thanks to better wheel geometry under load. Regardless of which suspension option you have, conventionally sprung or with Airmatic, the lifestyle load lugger provides decent body control, albeit with a small amount of roll, and turn-in from the direct steering system wheel is sharp. It is however lacking in the same sort of feedback and feel that you'll find with the BMW 3 Series Touring, and as such never inspires quite as much confidence as its main rival. Change direction too quickly though and the class washes out into mundane, but safe, understeer, but only when driving very quickly indeed. It's all controlled by a gentle release on accelerator pedal pressure though, and the electronic stability control system ensures the car never gets completely out of control anyway. Enthusiastic drivers may be a bit disappointed to learn that there's no way of fully disengaging this system on the class estate, though you can relax its input to a degree, perfect for pulling away on muddy or icy surfaces. There are 5 drive modes to choose from: 2, Comfort, Eco, Sport, Sport Plus and Individual, which can alter the suspension's responses as well as the steering, gearbox and even air conditioning parameters to optimize them to the driver's requirements and road conditions. Individual allows the driver to fine-tune and pick and choose from the different options for their perfect all-round setting. Equipment. There are 3 distinct trim levels for the class estate, starting with with Sport in the middle and topping out with AMG line. Sport costs another £1,995 over while AMG line requires a further £1,495 investment over mid-table sports spec. Standard Mercedes-Benz class estate equipment. All same models benefit from 16-inch alloy wheels sat on comfort suspension, halogen headlamps and direct steer speed-sensitive steering. Inside the seats are trimmed in Artico imitation leather. The center console sports the clever touchpad controller and there is pre-wiring for the Garmin Map Pilot navigation system along with the Audio 20 stereo with DAB radio and 7-inch color display. There's a handy media interface for listening to portable devices through the system too. Add to that a reversing camera, collision prevention assist, rain sensing wipers, Speedtronic cruise control and tire pressure monitoring, and it's clear the Mercedes class estate isn't just well equipped, but likes to make life easy for its occupants. Choose a sport model and that specification is built on with the addition of 17-inch alloy wheels on lowered suspension, contrasting stitching for the heated sports seats, Garmin sat-nav, LED headlights and park assist. On top of that, the AMG line models swap the alloy wheels for 18-inch examples while the exterior wears subtle AMG body styling and chrome splitter. Inside these cars also get sports pedals, AMG sports seats, an AMG steering wheel, leather dashboard and when combined with the automatic gearbox a pair of shift paddles on the wheel. Regardless of which trim or engine you choose, every class estate that leaves the factory will do so with its Connect Me system activated. This system consists of Move Me, Assist Me, Finance Me, Inspire Me and Connect Me, which is all about networking the vehicle with the drivers. Through this the car can send its details to Mercedes technicians in the event of a breakdown or even for booking a scheduled service, while in an accident you will be contacted by emergency services automatically. If there's no answer from the occupant's GPS data allows the required teams to be deployed to the correct location as quickly as possible. Less impressive, but no less important is the live traffic information that is also sent to vehicle. Optional Mercedes-Benz class estate accessories. There are optional elements to the Connect Me system, including the remote online services which allows smartphone users to locate their vehicle, track its movements, retrieve important trip computer information and preheat, or cool, the car in the mornings before setting off on their journey. A range of apps are also available, including social media, weather, search engine, internet music, parking, weather, finance, news and even travel status information. One of the most noteworthy options that can be added to the Mercedes class estate is the Airmatic Agility Package, £895, which adds air suspension to each axle and ensures the class sits level regardless of load. It also vastly improves the ride comfort of the car, especially when riding on larger alloy wheels. There's also a similarly priced £825 head-up display, which does as its name suggests and displays vital driving information onto the windscreen so drivers don't have to take their eyes off the road. Once you've lived with it, you'll wonder how you managed without. Until then, it's probably an expensive folly for showing off to your friends. Comfort. If you want the ultimate in Mercedes-Benz class estate comfort, there's one box you'll need to tick. Airmatic air suspension costs a further £895, but for those who really value ride comfort above anything else, and let's face it, traditional Mercedes customers like a corsetting ride, it's a box that needs ticked. The steel passively sprung cars certainly aren't unbearable, but on UK roads they can fidget and bounce over imperfections rather disconcertingly. Choose the electrically adjustable seats as experienced in our test cars and you're sure to be similarly delighted, as along with the extensive adjustment for the steering wheel it's easy to find your favorite driving position. All models come with leather look facings, which are actually quite convincing, but for the ultimate in sumptuous comfort it's worth adding proper cowhide. There's a decent amount of room to stretch out in the rear too, thanks to this class estate being larger than the last, and it suffers from less of an issue with headroom than the saloon with its sleeker sloping roofline. The four-cylinder diesels fitted to the C220 and C250 Bluetech and C300 Bluetech hybrid, they all use the same 2.1-litre unit but with different power outputs, are on the noisy side, especially when extended. To be fair, at constant throttle cruising speeds the problem isn't so apparent. Practicality, it's an estate, so you would expect Mercedes class estate practicality to feature high on the list of attributes, and it does, even if the firm would rather you load it with skis and towboats than fill it with Aldi groceries and drag a caravan behind you, such are its lifestyle ambitions. The good news is the boot has grown over the previous class estate, with a seat space of 490 litres and with them folded up to 1,510 litres of space available. And while the old class made do with a standard 6,040 split in the rear seats, the new car's bench can be sectioned into a 402,040 configuration. You don't even need to clamber over the load lip to reach the catches either, with buttons placed near the back of the boot and to the side of the seats in the passenger cabin, that electrically release the backrests and allow them to fold almost perfectly flat. The boot opening is large and squarely shaped as well, so it should be easy enough to load in awkwardly shaped or sized items. There are a couple of handy cubby spaces either side as well, just behind the wheel arches. Anyone sitting in the rear of the car will appreciate the extra 45mm of legroom too, thanks to a wheelbase that's grown by 80mm to 2,840mm, plus extra head, shoulder and elbow room compared to the previous model. Safety, no surprises here, as we can expect Mercedes-Benz class estate safety to be exemplary, since the class saloon on which it is based achieved a full 5 stars in the Euro NCAP testing. Of course, the firm doesn't just set itself the Euro NCAP tests as a benchmark, and is constantly crash testing its own vehicles as well as analyzing real-life accident data from customers' experiences. Like the saloon, the class estate comes with 7 airbags as standard, including one for the driver's knees, and offers the option of side airbags for the outer rear seats also. The front passenger seat will automatically detect a child seat, and disable the airbag accordingly, while there are ISOFIX fittings on the outer rear chairs. Pedestrians aren't forgotten about either, as the class estate has an active bonnet that moves upwards by 80mm away from the hard points in the engine bay to soften any impact with a human body. The car will even warn the driver, and if they fail to react will apply the brakes itself if it detects the likelihood of a pedestrian impact. Mercedes Connect Me system includes an emergency call function, so in the event of an accident with at least one airbag deployed, the car will automatically call the Mercedes-Benz service center to find out if anyone is injured and needs assistance. If there's no answer from occupants, it will automatically alert the relevant emergency services and provide them with the vehicle's GPS location. Reliability. Although a new car, you can expect Mercedes-Benz class estate's reliability to be as impressive as the rest of the range, including the class saloon on which it's based. Many of the engines, although revised, are in fact heavily based on those we have seen and experienced before, with no apparent major problems reported. Same goes for the 7-tronic automatic gearbox, a unit familiar to almost every current Mercedes owner, and one that has always done sterling service. Inside, the class is trimmed as you would expect from a Mercedes, so carpets and thick in the leather seats appear hardening. Our only area for concern could be the center console, especially when finished in glossy piano black, which looks ripe for scrapes and scratches when used.